Okay, good morning. Let us continue our discussion on machine learning for image processing lectures. So in the previous class, we were discussing about feature extraction. We have seen Harris-Corner detector. Some of the basic mathematical tricks or the mathematical steps that Harris-Corner detector leveraged from. Now let us continue the discussion and then move on to the feature extraction part as well. Okay, good. So can you quickly please tell what you remember or what you have understood about Harris-Corner detector? So what does it do? What is it mainly meant for? I will quickly ask 2-3 questions. Please answer, then we will move on. What for the Harris-Corner detector is meant for? Need quick answers.
Between corners,
right?
Corners, edges, or flat regions.
Very good. So it differentiates essentially if we have an image. Okay. If we have an image, there are some points which are quite distinct from the neighborhood. That such points are referred to as corners, and it tries to give a quantification for the cornerness of a given point compared to the other points. Not only that, it will classify the points into category of edges or to the corners or to uniform regions. Okay, so it has a single quantification for doing all this. Fine. So based on which it is developed. Next question. Based on which it is developed. Please answer quickly. We will not be able to move on. Yeah, based on which it's developed. So based on what is the starting point for this? None of you can answer quickly? So the moment I discussed about the answer sheet, you people started stopped thinking or what? Stopped answering.
Sir, it's based on finding gradients in X and Y direction.
Okay, very good. Fine. Based on finding gradients, that's finally what it concludes to. But what is its starting point? See the variation of a point from neighborhood. That's all, right? It quantifies the variation from the point to neighborhood in terms of E, U, comma, V. Okay. Okay, it just then what it does, the next step for it is it put this in a nice mathematical form to elegantly write it as a algebraic expression or equation, algebraic expression containing, and further it brings in the whole description of what the information of this algebraic curve or the expression relate to different values of U and V in terms of the matrix properties of M. Okay, and this matrix property M has like further analysis on this. brings this to find out a cornerness measure, that R is equal to what? Determinant of matrix minus some lambda times or k times the trace of matrix whole square. And initially it brings down to characterizing this matrix by lambda 1 and lambda 2, the eigenvalues, and then puts these eigenvalues into the cornerness measure. Okay, so first algebraic equation to matrix M, and matrix M to eigenvalues, and then eigenvalues to cornerness measure. Okay, these are all the elegant steps that they have taken to figure out and simply say a given point, is it a corner, edge, or uniform region? Okay, so can you please quickly tell based on say, so this M consists of this M, if you expand, it has the terms dou, so Ix, I will write dou I by dou X probably. Okay, whole square. Is it correct? Dou I by dou X into dou I by dou Y. Okay, similarly dou I by dou X into dou I by dou Y and dou I by dou Y whole square. Please note, it is not dou square I by dou X square. Okay, it's not second differentiation or second derivative. It is just the square of first derivative. Okay, Ix square. So in other words, Ix square, Ix Iy. Okay, Ix Iy, Iy square. In fact, these are all, but it also has a elegance of introducing window. That window is usually considered to be convolved with respect to the gradient images a priori itself, and that comes like this. Okay, so is this clear now? Any questions on this? Given this R, when we say that the a given point, so at a given any point, so what we do at a given point, we just simply compute Ix and Iy. From that, to compute the cornerness measure, we compute matrix M, we get the matrix M. Okay, and then use the determinant and so on, get the R. That's all. These are the steps involved. Okay, so while getting Ix, Iy, you can also consider W convolved with Ix and W convolved with Iy. Is this clear or not? This is Harris corner detector. So any questions on this, please quickly ask. When do we say this is a corner point? When R is for corner? Yeah, I need quick answers. For corner, what is R? Okay, for edge point and for uniform regions.
For corner, it is large and positive.
Yeah, it's large and positive. R is greater than 0 and much greater than 0. Right. And for edge point?
For edges,
Because
it is
what is
negative.
the intuition? Yeah, what is the intuition for R being large? Lambda 1, lambda 2, both high. Okay, both values are high. Okay, and then for edge point, any point on edges, R is?
Negative.
Yeah, R is negative in the sense that lambda 1 is much greater than lambda 2 or vice versa. Okay, and then what about uniform region? R is close to 0. Okay, that means lambda 1, lambda 2 both are small. Is this fine or not? So this is all regarding the Harris corner point. So any questions here you should ask now. Then if there are no questions, I will keep showing some slides. Okay, and putting questions to you. Quickly answer, otherwise class won't go on quickly. Okay, and you won't benefit. So any questions here, or shall we move on? Is it fine? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. Okay. So this is what they pictorially they are showing. This is the corner point, this is the edge points, and these are the regions they have put based on R lambda 1, lambda 2. Okay, so here lambda 1, lambda 2, if both are small, then it will come here. Okay, if it one of them are high, then it will come into this region. If both are high, it comes to this region. Okay, these are the slides from Professor Mubarak Shah video lectures. They have applied on some image. Okay, and they have found the corner points. See, usually if you consider R greater than a threshold to find out all the corner points, you may get large number of points. But thing is, see, all may not be corner points. See, around the corner point also you may get reasonably high values. Okay, so what people do in that cases is they apply non-maxima suppression. So what do we mean by non-maxima suppression? Okay, especially it is also referred to a non-local maxima suppression. So in this region, just if it is 5 cross 5, they will see which is the maximum value in this and retain only at that value. Okay, if this is the maximum value, just retain this. That non-maxima suppression is done on the R image. That means you have a matrix of R, okay, of whatever the image size. Okay, let this be 100 cross 100. Matrix of R values. On this, I will perform what? Non-maxima suppression. I take each 5 cross 5 window and see which is the maximum and retain on if it is maximum in this center pixel. If it is maximum than the other neighboring pixels, I will retain it, its value. Say here, assume that the center pixel is not maximum than other values, I will keep 0 here. Okay, I will just replace the value by 0. Okay, and this window 5 cross 5 window keeps moving on the whole image. That is referred to as non-maxima suppression. Is this process clear? This is also one of the important trick people do. So assume that they're all the values. Okay, if I consider a 3 cross 3 window, okay, so I may apply from here. Assume that remaining all values are zeros. Okay, I may start from here, assume that. In this, what I will do, if I want to do non-maxima suppression, center pixel I will see. If it is greater than all other pixels, I will retain. Otherwise, I will put 0 here. So the resultant image, what I see here, okay, in the resultant image, I see here at this location 0. Okay, so now I will move on. So if I apply non-maxima suppression, okay, in this window, where do you think I will get 1? And where I may get ones, where I may get zeros? Can you please quickly comment? Yeah, please quickly comment, otherwise I will write. Where am I getting 1?
Sir, when 9 is at center.
That's all. So when 9 is at center, I will get 1, remaining all zeros. That's all. Okay. So this is, say, for example, if I have a few other pixels, say, assume that here, something like this. Okay. And then again, so let few more be there. Yeah, this side it would have been simpler. So if I have like this, okay, then I may get, at what other value I may get another 1? Any other value do I get 1? So let us put here 7 to have 1 there. Okay, so again I will get even at 7 here. This is also local maxima. Okay, so I will again get 1 at this 7. Remaining all anyway zeros. Fine. So this is referred to as a non-maxima suppression. or also non-local maxima suppression. If it is not local maxima, we suppress it. If it is local maxima, we retain it. In the sense that here I have put 1 here, but usually what people will do is 1 means, okay, the value itself will be put here. Okay, so the and remaining all are put with zeros. So the non-local, like if it is a local maxima, retain its value itself. If it is not a local maxima, put 0 there. Okay, that's what finally is done. Okay, in some cases they will put only 1 there, just to retain that it is, indicate that it is a local maxima. Okay, in some other cases they will retain the value itself. Okay, it depends upon application to application which they retain. Okay, is this clear? So after doing this local maxima, only points of local maxima if consider. Okay, so they have now very few values left out with bright pixels, or they like with high values. Remaining all are zeros. You're able to see them? Oh, so I think it's not easy to see, but I think there are some values. Okay, so some values that are still left. Okay. Fine.
Sir,
Yeah.
how did we consider the window size?
Yeah, window size is again design parameter. Okay, people usually consider 3x3 or 5x5. So if you assume that, see, you have too many pixels, okay, which have come up as maxima, then you can consider a little larger window size. So you can suppress if it is only among 5x5, if it is maximum, you suppress, you retain it, otherwise suppress. Okay, but if you don't have not many output of the previous step, you can consider 3x3. 3x3 is reasonably simpler to get a more local maximas. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's all I think is the Harris-Corner detector. So I will, these are all explained in more details. Okay, so you get the, for implementation, you get the different first images, gradient images, and find convolution with whatever the mask, let it be Gaussian or rectangular mask or the window, or just to give a more emphasis on the central pixel, you are doing it. So usually Gaussian is better. And then you construct the 4 like building blocks of M. That is this one. This is first building block A. Okay, and B and C and C. Okay. So with these 4 building blocks at given location M, Ij. Okay, you can get Ij, and Ij. Okay. So Ji if you want. Ij only. Oh, sorry. Ij, and that's all. So you construct this Mij matrix. Then you using this, you find out the corner measure R to say whether this point is corner or edge and so on. Okay. So I think these details are not that much important. So results you can see here. Once we apply this Harris-Corner detector, you can see that it has nicely recognized many of the corner points. Okay, which are usually considered to be distinct than the neighborhood. Okay, but it may give rise to, because of gradients, discrete gradients we find, it may give rise to some spurious points as well. It may also miss out some points. Okay, it's like that.
Excuse me,
See the, yeah.
sir. Some people have exam today at 12. Can we stop at 11:50?
Yeah, fine. Okay. We'll stop it then. Just see the results and then we'll conclude.
Thank you, sir.
There is one more aspect to this. So on natural image also you can find reasonably working. The is said to be anisotropic in the sense that it is not isotropic. If you give a original image versus a rotated image to Harris-Corner detector, it may detect different corner points. So the original image it may do like this, or in the rotated image it may detect like this. Okay, so the response of the detector to with the different oriented images will be different. That is referred to as anisotropic response. Okay, this has this kind of response, so it's not very stable. There is another detector called scale invariant feature transform based detector. which I will not be discussing in detail in this class, but known to be one of the very state-of-the-art and stable detector that gives a corner points or the feature points which are stable across reasonable orientations and as well as across different scales of images. Okay. So in the next class, what we will do is we will follow up on this. We will not discuss the feature point extraction method of scale invariant feature transform, but it has an elegant method of given a key point. If I say that this is a key point, okay, or if I say that this is a key point, what features to find out at this point? If I say this is a key point, what features to look at that point? Okay, so that question we will answer in the next class. Given a key point, where to look for is given. What to look for in that region, that we will discuss in the next class. Okay, so that is from the shift we will discuss. This is referred to as interest point descriptors. We want to describe the interest points as features. Okay, how do we do it in images? So with that, probably the discussion on image processing will be done. So from the subsequent class onwards, we'll go for other machine learning methods. So any questions on this? Suggest to ask quickly. Yeah, if there are no questions, we'll conclude the class here. Yeah. Okay then. Thanks then. Thanks to all. Bye.
Thank you, sir.